G'day everybody, Duckville here. We're going to watch a game from the NA ladder. This is going to be a really cool PvZ between my good buddy who's going to be starting up at the top right hand side of Antigua Shipyard. It is Gemini from Team Epidemic. I don't know why his name's Gemini here. I thought he had the clan tag on it before. Perhaps it's another account. I don't actually know. His opponent is going to be down at the bottom right hand side. It is the red Zerg named DaZeD. So we're going to have a PvZ here, of course. Perhaps a little bit unfortunate in the positioning here for DaZeD. Of course, his third is going to be a little bit close to the Protoss main base, which of course can cause a few issues when you look at attacks that can easily be reinforced by a simple pylon up here, reinforcing and warping in units down at this side and attacking into this third. And of course that means that Gemini's third base is going to be quite far away from his Zerg opponent. So I'll be very interested to see if we're going to see some things such as mutas or that sort of play that's a little bit more mobile around the map that'll allow DaZeD to sort of bounce around and get some good vision of what's going on. Now, of course, this is in the new patch, the 1.4.327. I don't know, something like that, where Overlords have this incredibly crazy move speed boost, and as you can see, this Overlord is already across to the other side of the map. May have seen that probe that was just waltzing past down below and is going to head up towards the top side. Of course, he's probably got a drone that's going to head out as well, because given that this is the ladder version, there of course are the multiple spawn points, but as we can see, it looks like Gemini is going to go for the standard sort of expansion here, going to wall off at the ramp. The forge is already up. And of course, DaZeD will respond in kind with his own hatchery down at the natural. So while this is all going pretty standard, let's talk about where we are right now. It is the 14th of May. It is not only a few days before my birthday, but also around about, I think we're about 16 hours before the release of Diablo 3. Now, I'm sure many of you will be primed and ready for that. You've got your big cans of Mother and all that sort of crazy stuff and chips and all that stuff, and you're going to be going hardcore and all that sort of thing. I tell you what, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So the casting will be a little bit lax, of course, so you probably won't see anything for maybe a week or so. Don't worry, I'm not dead. I'm just playing a lot of Diablo 3. So I'll be streaming a lot. You can catch it all on twitch.tv/DuckvilleLol, and we'll see if we'll get some perhaps some in-game VODs. I know there are some people who aren't actually getting the game just yet. Of course, it's not everybody's cup of tea to play a hack and slash. But if you're interested in seeing some more in-game content from me, and you can't watch the stream because it's on at a bad time for you or something like that, please let me know, and I'll get some VODs going up, and you can see how the game is from that respect. While that's been ranting on, DaZeD has picked up his third base here. He's decided he's just going to go for it straight away, droning up really hard. As we can see, there are a bunch of drones just transferring across to the natural expansion, and looks as if he's going to continue to just really power up the drones for the moment, perhaps trying to take advantage of the fact, as pretty much every Zerg should, that Gemini has gone for the Forge Fast Expand. You really should take a third base very quickly and try and just drone up there so you can catch up in what the Zerg economy needs to look like. And speaking of which, just having a look at the work account here, we've got Gemini up on 24. His opponent is on 19 drones just at the moment. No gas taken, of course. You sort of need to pick that up when you get near the 40 stage as a standard with the no gas style of openings. And we'll see if he starts to grab those very, very shortly, because he's getting close to that high 30s number. And in speaking of which, the Lings are just going to catch this probe here. Probably not going to get away. I mean, there's no speed coming along for those Lings, of course, but they are just slightly faster than a probe. That guy's not going to have a good time at all. So everything, as we mentioned, still looking very standard here for Gemini. He's got the warp gate tech on the way, +1 to the forge, just going along there, and we may see perhaps just a 4-gate style attack with a lot of zealots on that third base. As I mentioned before, easy to reinforce this attack. With a pylon just up here, you can have those zealots belting away at the destructible debris, pulling that down, and then get inside there very quickly. So we'll have to see if extra gates come up. There is a robotics facility, so perhaps not just initially. but we'll have to keep an eye on whether the third and fourth gas gets taken here by Gemini. That'll be a big sign of what exactly he is intending on doing. But the Queen is now up at the third, getting the injects going very nicely, is DaZeD, so he's going to have a nice lava count. Of course, the Roach Warren going up there perhaps a tiny bit later than it should have been. It's sort of, I'm not totally sure on that, but he's going to get that up just to make sure that he is defended against that potential warp gate pressure attack, which may come through very soon. There are the extra 3 gates for Gemini, so he's got not only the robo facility here, he's also going to have a few gateway units out on the map. Now, this can be a problem for Protoss in terms of taking a third, because you can obviously be very susceptible in the early game to large roach-style attacks, and now that can be a big issue if you are trying to just sort of get that third and play a very passive macro game. But I'm not sure if Gemini is going to do that just for starters. And just look at what that Overlord got to see. That was just about everything there. He got through, saw that there was an extra gate over here. You can make the assumption that there should be perhaps a couple more. He also has another Overlord here, and with that speed boost to those guys, that is a very cool addition to the Zerg potentially in terms of scouting out on the map. Now, a Warp Prism was actually the first unit that was brought out here by Gemini. He's got a couple of pylons that are being constructed down here at the third base as well. If they get up, that's actually not the greatest sort of thing for DaZeD to have to deal with, of course. He's going to have, in fact, this may be a multi-pronged attack. There is a Warp Prism just heading across. He's going to bring down some units just inside the main base here behind the smoke. In fact, one of the Zealots can be seen, so we'll have to get those reinforcements back inside. DaZeD a little bit too worried with taking care of this pylon. Look at that Queen range. That is absolutely insane. But now inside the mineral line, some Zealots are doing their best, and they are targeting down some of those drones very nicely. Going to see that the Spire is there, of course, and the Queen just going to stay back. You want to keep her alive, especially considering she has that extra range boost now. And the Zealots just sort of holding position at the moment. They can't hit the Queen from there. They can't throw their side blades, which is a bit unfortunate. But they are preventing a lot of mining in here at the mineral line, and now retreating to the safety of the mineral patches. Just getting a very low surface area here, which is just beautiful for them. They've done quite a lot of work. 7 kills on that guy, 3 on this one, and I'm sure those other guys got a couple of kills as well. And in fact, a couple more Zealots now just making their way into the third base. The Queen's going to have to retreat for the time being, but the Zealots dealing with those Zerglings very quickly there, and that looks like the end of the harassment inside the main, but it is still continuing up here at the third, and not to mention the Warp Prism is still available for Gemini, and he uses that quite nicely here. Once that Spire gets completed, this will probably start to fall down, but I look at all this damage that is being done. We'll get to the unit loss tab in just a second. Lots of Zerglings, of course. I think perhaps a few Roaches and some drones went down there. We got 8 kills, which is obviously not a huge amount. That's not going to win you a game, but it's certainly put his Zerg opponent quite far behind in terms of where he would have wanted to be. You'd probably normally see a Zerg sitting up there very close to the 80 drone count right about now, but he's limited that just for the moment by killing off some of the drones that were already there, and then making sure that some of the larvae were converted into the attacking units, which he had to use to defend. So that was a good pressure attack there by Gemini. He got a good amount of intel there as well. As we said, he picked up that the Spire was available, and now with these Mutalisks out on the map, he's going to have to be very prepared for that. He's got a couple of cannons inside the main. The Templar Archives is also in construction, just about to complete, and a couple of cannons just at that natural base there as well. So he's probably going to need to look to take a third very soon here. We'll want to see him bring in a couple of Templar, just maybe one inside each of the mineral lines. There's quite a lot of cannons, so you don't actually need too many Templar. But once you can get inside the, once you can get the mineral lines protected by those Templar, once they have Storm, as I said, it's Storm is on the way, and +2 to weapons is also on the way. So he's going to have, he should be fine to defend against all of this, depending on how many more mutas DaZeD wants to get. Just having a look at exactly what he's doing, he's actually just perhaps going to take care of the Warp Prism threat. Is he going to find it? No, he's not. He was just a little bit out of range there, unfortunately for him. But he's going to just scout around anyway, just to make sure that there is no more further threat that could come inside. Now, just looking at the upgrades for these guys, we've got +2 on the melee attacks here for DaZeD. He's also got +2 to Carapace, and Infestation Pit also going down. Going to get prepared for that Hive Tech, and as we can see, he's really got a really nice economy going here. He's up to 71 drones, almost on 2k minerals per minute, and around about 500 gas, and we'll have to wait and see what DaZeD is going to do. Is he going to take this gold inside the middle section here, or go for the safer position down at the bottom side of the map? I'm not too sure just yet, but there's that Templar. A couple of extra cannons are now there as well, so these mineral lines will be quite well defended, especially considering that there has only been just this small flock of mutas that's been created, and it looks as if DaZeD is going to just check out exactly what's here, flies across this mutalist, getting a little bit of a view of what's going on. The Blink Stalkers say no to mutas and take that guy down. But now it looks as if Gemini is going to be prepared to move out and take a third base. Now he's got a lot of probes to use, so he certainly can send them across and get them in position to get the mining going really well at this third base here. And it looks as if he is going to wall off here as well, just to make sure that any possible flanking attacks through the destructible debris cannot be utilized there. And DaZeD just switching into the hive tech now. So he's got his 3 bases, he's got a nice big wall of spine crawlers that's prepared for any counter attacks from Gemini. He has a very large contingent of lings out on the map. I think there's a total of, how many are there? 52 lings out on the map at the moment. They're going to have a look at the destructible debris at the third. Where are those mutas going? They're just going to hang out here at the third base. They're just going to waltz past that, the observer that's just here. Very nice patrolling. Of course, that's one thing which I've alluded to in previous games that I've done cast off of Gemini before. He is very good with just making sure that he's got lots of patrolling observers to really protect his base from any sort of drops or anything like that. It's of course very prevalent and very useful against Terrans, but in this case he can see if he needs to prepare a storm, because there is a Templar that's sitting here. He's almost got his 200 energy and is almost ready to go with any possible stormage that needs to be done. But as we can see, Infestors are now out for DaZeD. So he's really going to switch into that higher tech in just a minute here. The Great Aspire has just started now, and he is also going to be getting some more upgrades for these ground units as well. So he's going to have a lot of potential for switching into the Ultralisk if he does start a cavern. I don't actually see one just yet. What I would like to see him do is take a 4th base very soon, and in fact there he goes. He's going to take one down at the southern side and also at the bottom left hand side as well. So he's going to be looking very pretty once he gets those bases up. For Gemini, he's got +2 on his ground weapons, +1 on the armor as well. As we mentioned, there's a lot of Templar available for him to use quite a few of these storms as well, and is also sitting here mining quite nicely at a nice total of 68 probes. So things are very passive for the moment between these two guys. The Warp Prism's still hanging out here at the pretty much exactly on 6 o'clock on the minimap, and he's going to be perhaps using that to get some warp-ins going. He does not have a Dark Shrine. I would really like to see a Dark Shrine at this point, considering that this is that stage where DTs will start to become extremely annoying for a Zerg to deal with once you've sort of secured all your mineral lines, and the Zerg is now, he can't really attack into you, and he's trying to get these extra bases up. That's the time when these guys can jump out and have some fun, and it looks as if he's going to bring out some Zealots inside this mineral line here. The drones are unaware of what's happening, and they are going to get sniped down. A couple of them are going to get away just in time, but some more Zealots just warping in as well. Mutalist flying in to save the day. They're going to take down that Warp Prism. No speed and no extra units to help out here, but a few kills. Nothing too huge, but nothing too bad either. It's not like you lost everything for no real reason. You got a few kills there on a couple of the drones, and a few Zergling kills along the way as well. So things are starting to really really going to heat up in just a second here. It looks as if Gemini is now moving out to establish this 4th base here. That gold is going to get going, and if he can get that up and running, then he'll be in a very nice position. But the Broodlords are out. There are quite a few of them. We've got a total of 8 of them just out on the map. There are some Infestors underneath them waddling around, going to look to try and put a fungal growth down. Want to see a feedback here from Gemini if he can. If he can catch the feedback on those Infestors, that'll put him in a great stead to blink his Stalkers underneath the Broodlords, but he's not going to be able to here. The 4th base is definitely not going to get up. The Zerglings, Mutas, and the Broodlords just coming across are going to have a fun time of taking that down. But while this is all going, we do have that 4th base up. The 5th is almost on the way as well, and the Broodlords are perhaps going to just wait for a couple more reinforcements here. We've got an extra 3 just about to jump into existence. That's going to bring the total to 11, and once those guys are in, we'll probably see an attack execution here from DaZeD, unless he wants to be a little bit more passive as well, but I don't think that would be the greatest idea for him. He really needs to put some pressure on his opponent. You don't want to sit here, let the Protoss tech up. We've now got double forges here to get those armor and shield upgrades going, and just sort of let the Protoss sit there and get that mothership out, which is that on the way? Yes, it is. And there she goes. So she's going to come out soon and make this a very very vulnerable sort of position for Zerg, where you can be, if you get a good vortex down, if these Broodlords aren't split up and sort of put all around the place, a good vortex can effectively seal a game. And there have been multiple times in pro-level matches where we've just seen the situation where a vortex goes down, catches all the Broodlords, and everything dies to the Archon toilet once the flush commences. And hopefully we won't see that straight up here from DaZeD. We want to see a good battle. Looks as if some probes are going to be sacrificed here for Gemini, not really needing those guys just at the moment. That frees up a little bit of his supply. It lets him get out. What's he going to go for? He's going to get another Observer out. Of course, that very quick 30-second build time here is very cool for them. And he's going to get some more gates created as well, just all over the place. Love these extra cannons here, just to make sure that there's no drops that might come through and really cause some problems inside the main base. But really looks as if Gemini is just going to start turtling up. He's going to go just sort of old school Brood War style and just sit here, get the tech going, make sure that he's all prepared for any possible contingencies that he might have to deal with, and is then going to move out and take his fourth. And as we can see, the probes now moving across. It looks as if a run by from these Zerglings might get through. It's not going to get too far. In fact, he's not even sort of positioned them well. They're going to try and run through, but there are a couple of cannons out here, well protected. I do love this wall that Gemini has built across here. That is one thing which I really don't think enough people do on this map when you're playing against a Zerg. Always good to just sort of wall off this section. You can obviously full wall off this little bit here, and then this side as well, and then you've just got this small sort of choke point where you can just decimate any Zerg units to try and pass through. Now, just looking at this this very healthy death ball here from Gemini, it's a bit of a weird terminology there, a healthy death ball. But he's got a couple of Colossi here. We've got 2. We've got a bunch of Archons as well, 6 of them, along with some Stalkers numbering 29. He's got some Templar underneath all of that somewhere in there as well, and even a probe just to say hello. So the 4th base is going to be secured here for Gemini. He's just sort of getting in position. The Broodlords have been nicely spread by DaZeD. I do like that. Going to catch out some of these Broodlords. They're in fact in a line, so this is actually not the best position for him, because once they get in range, they're actually going to clump up, and there is a vortex. They're going to chuck a few of those Archons inside, going to be able to do a lot of damage to the units that pop out, and the Broodlord still staying back from afar is very nice here. He's going to bring out some Infested Terrans as well, throwing a few of them into the vortex, going to help with spreading out the units, and he does, but the Broodlords are going down and everything is being absolutely smashed apart here. The Infested Terrans are actually doing a good job though, doing a little bit of damage, so fungal growth on top of these Stalkers here. Need some quick reinforcements here from Gemini, and he is going to bring some of those in. There is a muter attack up at the top base here for Gemini, so he is going to lose some of those probes. The Broodlords are still in a very nice number here, so that is not good at all for Gemini. And it looks as if the Infestors are out of energy, so this could eventually swing the way of Gemini here, but I don't think he's going to have enough to continue on with the push. I mean, there are going to be a lot of reinforcement units from the Zerg popping out soon. We've got 11 Corruptors and 7 Infestors in construction just at the moment here. So Gemini does the smart thing and retreats. Well, maybe we want to pick off that little Overseer here, but he's going to reinforce, getting some more Templar out. Just having a look at each of these guys' banks, it is obviously looking a little bit more desperate for Gemini just now. He's mined out in the main and the natural, lost a few probes up here at this top base, but this gold, if this can get up and running and stay secure, he'll be putting himself in a very nice position. And now the reinforcement of Infestus and Broodlords is about to commence. We've got a couple of extra Corruptors that are just sitting here, just waiting to be switched across. Gemini currently sitting on a bank of 1,800 and around about 200 gas. Meanwhile, for DaZeD, he's got a whole heap of money available. He's got around about 6k minerals available, along with 350 gas or so. He's trying to get up a 6 base just across on the left hand side here. Sticks doing Gemini, I should say. That was his old name, is Sticks. It's a very much cooler name than Gemini in my opinion. He's going to send in some DTs here. Going to take down this 4th base here. That Spore Crawler is actually just out of range. Like literally sort of this position he's being covered there, but now he's going to move it into a different spot there. The +3 on those DTs is going to help kill that hatchery though, and he is not going to escape. The spine crawler's finally realizing that there was someone under their skirt and takes care of the DT straight away, and it looks as if Gemini, I should say DaZeD, is going to have to rebuild that one straight away. But more Zealot counterattacks coming along here. He's going to take down some of these drones, which would be quite nice for him. Looks as if DaZeD is well aware that he can't really take on those Zealots, especially when they get segmented like this, but with the backup of the spine crawlers, he's going to be able to deal with that quite easily. So now things have really sort of in a very sort of stagnant state right now. We've got Gemini trying to attack into this this 5th base here, but he's not really getting too much luck getting that going, and it looks as if DaZeD is preparing for another attack. He's got a lot of Broodlords here. They don't actually have any upgrades at all. We'll see if that actually costs DaZeD in the end, because I mean, when you're dealing with these Stalkers and Archons that have +3 to their armor, they've got +1 on their shields, and +3 on their weapons, it can get very, very messy, because those Broodlords will just die instantaneously when the Archons get underneath them, and of course when the Blink Stalkers get underneath them as well. So we'll find out if that is going to be the case here. In fact, a beautiful vortex there catches out some of those, catches out some of the infestors here. Looks as if DaZeD is doing a really good job trying to keep the Archons out of the toilet, but those guys, they need a drink, and they are jumping straight in. They're going to catch whatever units are left inside here, and they pop out. There are the infestors. They pop out, and in fact, very little was lost there for DaZeD, so that actually went quite nicely for him. It's just the position of all of these units here being reinforced. A lot of Blink Stalkers just jumping into the battle there, and now Gemini has gotten himself in a really nice spot. He's going to be able to take down the rest of these Broodlords here. That is going to really hurt the resupply of DaZeD. He's going to need to bring back a whole bunch of infestors, and the Corruptors as well. He's got them on the way. 6 Corruptors, in fact, are being constructed, along with another 7 infestors. So he's really going to need to bring that back as fast as he can. The Colossi, the Mothership, the Archon, and the Stalkers all doing quite a lot of damage here, taking care of this spine crawler wall. What this does is, while this particular push may not fully kill DaZeD, he may be able to come back with a second push, given that there won't be as many spine crawlers there. But DaZeD is doing a very cool attack here up at the 4th base. He's denying this gold from mining at all, and he is going to be able to get a lot of kills here. In fact, he's taking out quite a lot of those probes there. But while all this is going on, a very, very nice mix of units here from Gemini is now attacking into the 3rd base of DaZeD. Of course, the reinforcements from this pylon just walking their way up, and they are taking care of all of those spine crawlers. They have all gone down. The hatchery is now just about to die, considering that DaZeD has now only got these main hatcheries that he's had at the bases. There were no extra macro hatcheries inside the main base at all, and he is actually looking a little bit worse for wears right now. Of course, the supply count currently sitting at 84 for DaZeD, Gemini at 121. There are some overloads just heading across the top side of the map. Not sure what the plan is here. The spine crawler looking like he wants to jump in and just head over to the main base of the Protoss there. But just having a look, what does DaZeD have? He's got 7 infestors. We've got 7 corruptors out of the map as well. There are some of those infestors getting picked off there by the Blink Stalkers, and it looks as if DaZeD is really, really troubled for what he's going to do now. His main problem is gas. He doesn't actually have any drones mining inside these gases over at the side here, and looks like he's only just sort of gotten into the mining there at that one. But the Stalkers now just bypassing the spine crawler wall that was up across at the side, perhaps a little bit too gung-ho with their attack of fungal growth going on. All of those Stalkers that were just right there, and a beautiful vortex. Now this could be a very nice one here. Actually, now that I think about it, there isn't actually too much that could jump into the vortex for Gemini, so he's perhaps not going to get all the kills that he needs. But while this is going on, he is taking care of a couple of those Broodlords across to the side. The infestors coming along just to try and do what they can, but they are not going to be able to really get too many kills here. And this is sort of a really odd position for this Mothership, just sort of hanging out on the cliff here. I wonder if she's sort of looking to just sort of push across and maybe try and take care of all of this stuff herself. But not really sure what the plan is here from DaZeD. He's in a very troubling position. His gas count is extremely low. His workers are currently sitting on 43, but I tell you what, he has done a great job of actually denying the workers of Gemini. In fact, he's at it again, using some of that surplus minerals that he had. He's going to just bring out a whole bunch of these lings, and these guys are going to take care of every single probe that was here for Gemini, and that is now done. A pylon is going to go down, and the attack is still on. There is still no way up into that 3rd base. There are a couple of DTs out. Some Templar caught out of position here. That is not good at all for for Gemini, losing those. The Lings are going to go to town on these cannons. Bear in mind that these Lings have 3-3, so they are going to be doing a lot of damage and rejecting a lot of damage from the Protoss here, so he should be okay to try and run inside, but the rest of the forces now are coming back for Gemini, saving the day, and are going to be doing a good job of cleaning all of that up. So DaZeD is just sort of in this stable position for the moment. He's at that spot as a Zerg where he's sort of thinking, alright, I have no gas, I may as well just make a bajillion Lings and send them across the map and try and do a heap of run-bys. But I tell you what, he's not going to get too far by these Colossi that are camping out here at the at that sort of main choke point in the middle section there. The Nexus at the gold expansion trying to go up here for sticks. He really needs to get that going because he is starting to run low on his own resources. As we can see, 21 probes left over for him, and just a very small, very meager income. In fact, that just may drop totally here. He's got probes long distance mining to the gold, but that's going to take quite a while for them to get all of their cargo back. And Gemini currently sitting at 108 supply. Let's look at the unit count here. We've got 3 Archons here in this little ball, a Colossus, in fact 2 Colossus I should say, 16 Zealots there, I totally forgot what they were called, a Dark Templar, and a few Stalkers out as well. So he's sort of in a very nice spot here. In fact, he's going to jump inside the main base, getting a good observer just across there to get some good vision, and he's going to take down as much of the tech as he can. Lings and Broodlings are going to come along and try and get these before they can get all the damage done, but I tell you what, enough has been done that could really hurt DaZeD in any sort of attempt to come back to this game, but foiling that blink attempt there. Unfortunately, Gemini is going to lose all of those blink stalkers there, but the good thing is he got some tech, his gold base is up. If he can keep this up for just a little bit longer, he might be able to resupply and then perhaps look to push inside either this base here or perhaps into this base and just sort of clean up those remaining expansions. But one thing he is going to have to deal with first is this big Broodlord infested combination that's just coming across. There are a few Lings there on the ground as well to provide him with a good amount of ground sort of tanking and a good DPS as well. You can see that the gold base is here. The Broodlord's now going to town on all of that. 6 now coming across from the side. He's got Archons and the Zealots at the front. The Blink Stalkers have to be very careful here. We'll see if they actually engage, and in fact there is a huge vortex putting that down right on top of the group of the Broodlords here, and Lings are just swarming in all over the place. This is like a battle for ire here for the Protoss units. The Colossus do a great job of cleaning up the rest of those Lings that come out, and the Archons were inside the toilet, and then a secondary vortex catching all of the units before they were able to escape to safety or perhaps die an honorable death. One remaining Broodlord being microed around here as fast as possible by DaZeD, but he's not going to get too much done. And here we go, the final battle. A huge Archon toilet there destroying all of the Broodlords, and that has probably sealed the game here for Gemini. Going to take the victory, I would assume. He's now on the victory march. There are quite a lot of Lings out on the map, so he's got to be very careful of a possible counter-attack, but I highly doubt that this amount of Lings would be able to do enough damage to stop the Protoss before he is able to win, but you never know. We'll see what happens. Blink Stalkers trying to get through. They're not going to get too far. Colossi are also taking some hits there. Not the greatest position for them to be in, but the Spine Crawlers now going to work on all of those forces that they can. Meanwhile, the Lings at the opposite side trying to run around and get some damage done. Perhaps I doubted them too quickly there. They do have weapon speed along with +3 as we mentioned before, so they do have a very, very huge DPS here. It's just a matter of whether Gemini can keep these units alive while doing this base trade, and it looks as if he is going to be able to catch out some of those infestors before they can get out and into the field. Takes down the hatchery. You may need to get rid of these extractors just to make sure as well, but I don't think he's going to have time. He needs to perhaps turn around. This could be very close to cannons. Everything going down here for Gemini. He's going to lose this expansion very quickly here. He has no additional expansions or probes, in fact, anywhere on the map. In fact, there was a pylon that was being built down here, but I don't know what happened to that. And it looks as if Gemini is just going to roll through this base here, going to clean it up as much as he can. Meanwhile, speaking of rolling, these Lings are just trying to do their best to come through, and it looks as if Gemini does have a sentry here. Is he going to be able to force field in time? Yes, he does. There is a fungal growth, and a lot of these Lings, though. There are still a big total of 37 Lings out on the map. Meanwhile, the expansion down at the southern left-hand side has been destroyed. Gemini is just trying to get here as quickly as he can, doing all the damage, perhaps wants to take care of this hatchery and then retreat. I mean, he does need to get back because he is, of course, on 74 minerals. He has no real units to build. He could perhaps bring in another sentry up here at the top. It looks as if he's going to be able to force field this one before the Lings can get inside. We'll see if that is the case here, but DaZeD continuing just to produce Lings all over the place. They're not even just trying to come back to defend anything. He's just getting them out as fast as he can, getting them across the map, going to try and do as much damage as he can, and the Infestors now walking up the ramp. Will they be able to get too far? Not very far, but they are going to be able to lob some of these beach balls across the fence and just dropping those Infested Terrans to say hi. Will the Infested Terrans be able to do the damage they need to here? Because Gemini is on the way back. He's bringing back everything here. Would have loved to see the mothership perhaps stay back at home initially. A recall after the base trade would have been quite nice, but the cannons doing what they can here. As we can see, there is really not much in production for either of these players. Of course, Gemini with no available minerals and DaZeD with virtually no hatcheries to use. He's just sending back as many of these units as he can, and here comes Gemini. The two Colossus are the key here. If he can keep those alive, he should be fine to defend against all of this, but the mothership is now coming across. There is almost no way for DaZeD to deal with that mothership at all. Throws down a few Infested Terrans, trying to save his bacon with those, but that is not going to happen, and it looks as if Gemini is going to be victorious in the end, cleaning up all of this. He basically, he has one chance. He has one shot. He's got a he's got one probe which he could push out. If he can get that out and get some long distance mining to the gold, as we can see here, he actually rallied it across already. He may be okay to take this game. The only possible way that DaZeD can come back is to make a whole heap of roaches. A little bit surprised about that little switch. I'm not sure about that one, but here he comes. There is no detection here for DaZeD. He needs to get an Overseer out as quickly as possible. There is oh wait, hang on, the Overseers cost a little bit of gas, don't they? Oh no, here's one. Okay, it's all good. He's got one Overseer. He needs to bring that up into the battle as quickly as possible, but here come those Protoss forces with their +3 weapons, going to bring them to bear as quickly as possible. He may try and escape out the back door here at this expansion. Takes down one of the Archons. That guy is dead. There are a couple of Colossi that are still here. Gemini has done a great job of keeping those alive. There go the roaches. That is all of them done and dusted. There is a hatchery still being built across to the side, but I don't see any way that DaZeD is going to come back into this. He has to take care of 2 Colossi. He's got 7 Stalkers, a couple of Zealots, and an Immortal to get rid of, not to mention the mothership up in the air, which he actually has no real way to stop. I mean, we've got a Queen here, and we may even have a Queen inside the main, but there's nothing else that can shoot up. And that is possibly going to be it, but no, a few Lings are actually going to sneak out here for DaZeD. Is he going to be able to do enough damage? I mean, Gemini does have to get back across to the opposite side of the map if he wants to take down every building. Meanwhile, for these Lings, they will be able to do a lot of damage here inside the main, and there goes the mothership. That is a beautiful decision. Going to send her back. She's got the recall if needed. If there happen to be 7,000 Lings which just run into the base, he's going to be able to bring them back and just sort of resupply the units, you could say, by bringing in a mass recall. But the Lings are sort of splitting up here. I don't know if that's the best idea, but that is the last Nexus. As we can see, the Nexus goes down. Gemini now trying to push inside and get all of this Zergy stuff down as fast as possible. Mothership is now in. She's saving some of these buildings. How are these being seen? Okay, now they can be seen. I don't know how those Lings were able to see the buildings on the ground in the first place. Is there a... I don't know what's going on there. How can he see those? I don't know. Either way, he's dead. So that game is over. What a crazy way to finish off that game with a very long base trade, and then an attempted run by here from DaZeD to try and just get back inside and see everything that was there. But it was not enough. A little bit too late perhaps with that big Ling run by, and perhaps he could have used a few more units inside. But as we could see, Gemini was just available to get enough units out, just had enough to really crank out enough of these powerful Protoss units to seal the deal there. So thank you very much to Gemini for sending this one in. It was a very cool game. I hope you all enjoyed it. As I said, going to be a little bit slower on the uploads for these coming, maybe this week, maybe next week, but I'll try and make sure I get a couple of things out over the few days. And of course, make sure you tune in to twitch.tv/DuckvilleLol, because I'm going to be doing a lot of Diablo 3, as I'm sure you are. Make sure you post on facebook.com/DuckvilleLol SC2 with your thoughts about anything StarCraft, or perhaps if you want, post some stuff about Diablo 3. I'll catch you later. Cheers.